What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope all doing well. So, before we get into things today, I do want to do some congratulations because two guys got contract extensions. Starting in the NHL, Washington Capitals extended Jakob Chychrun an 8-year deal worth $72 million. Chychrun was in Arizona for years. He, after a brief stint in the Ottawa for about a year and a half, they got him in a trade from the Ottawa Center before the season. He had an incredible season. 18 goals, 25 assists, 43 points from a defenseman. Not the best defender in the world, but he's not horrible either. Decent defender, and he's incredible offensively. Been a big reason why the Capitals haven't been able to turn it around, and they've already clinched a playoff spot, and they are right now first in the Eastern Conference. I am going to go over the standings in the NHL a little bit later in the show in a little bit. But Chychrun gets a huge deal from the Capitals. That's a lot of money for Chychrun. I'm not sure I would have given him $9 million a season. 8 years, I can see why he got the years. He is only 26, but I think $9 million is a little much. However, he is a great player. One of the best offensive defensemen in the league and a big part of what the Capitals do. So he will remain the Capital for a long time. Now, on the baseball side of things, Seattle Mariners extend catcher Kyle Raleigh on a 6-year extension worth $105 million. Raleigh has come a long way over the last couple of years. Doesn't hit for a ton of average, but he had 2 seasons ago hit 232 with 30 homers and 75 RBIs. Last year, only hit 220, only had 312 on base, but had 34 homers and 100 RBIs. 740 OPS is okay. Finished 12th in MVP voting. Also won a Gold Glove, so he is one of the best catchers in all baseball. Very underrated. He's got a lot of power, and he's good behind the dish defensively. Still only 27. And Seattle locks him down. One of the very few reliable bats in that Seattle Mariners lineup, and he plays well defensively behind the dish. So Mariners lock him up long term. But let's get into some college basketball. Obviously, got the Sweet 16 starting tomorrow. But there are some coaching hires around the league. This is when all the college basketball coaches kind of get fired and the hires happen. So Virginia hires Ryan Odom, the former coach of VCU. So overall, this is a decent hire. Odom got his start as an interim coach in Charlotte back in 2015. Then he went and coached Division II for a year. Got the UMBC job back in 2017. If you remember, UMBC was the first and one of the only 2 teams in the first team ever to win a tournament game as a 16 seed, shocking the world against Virginia back in 2018. So a full circle moment for Ryan Odom. He was the coach of UMBC in 2018. He was there for 4 years. Did a very good job in 2018. He won the American East Conference Championship, and then obviously had that historical win over the University of Virginia that year. Didn't make a tournament in 2019, though did have a pretty good season, 21-13. Went 16-17 in the COVID shortened year. And then this past season did go 14-6 and did win and was the best team in the American East in the regular season, but unfortunately came up short in the conference tournament. American East Conference, you're not going to get, if you don't win the conference championship, you're not going to get a bit to the tournament. So it didn't happen. Then got the Utah State job, and this year of Utah State had a great season, 26-9. Was tied for second in the Mid-Mountain West and ended up making the tournament as a 10 seed. So, actually, no, that was a couple of years ago. And now, that was 3 years ago. Then 2 years ago, he took the VCU job in the Atlantic 10 Conference. 2 years ago in his first season there, went 24-14. Had a pretty good year. But his past year was even better. Went 28-7. Dominated the Atlantic 10. And made the tournament as an 11 seed. You do lose in the first round to BYU, but had a very good year. Overall, he's 222 and 127 as a head coach, and now he takes a job with Virginia. Virginia has had a rough couple of years, the last couple of years. Not a lot has gone right since they won a national championship back in 2019. You've lost in the first round every single year. Plus, you had right before the championship, you had the loss to 16 seed UMBC, obviously. And last year, you snuck into the first 4. They got annihilated in the first 4. Well, not annihilated. You lost a very close game in the first 4. think last year, but you've been horrible. Last year might have been 2 years ago, and this last year has been really bad. Obviously, Tony Bennett retired right before the season. He handpicked the next coach, didn't really work out for whoever that was, and now Ryan Odom takes over in Virginia. I think this is a good move. They can truly move on to a different era. That's a legit coach now. Ryan Odom is the next coach at Virginia. Sacramento State hires Mike Bibby to be their next coach. Sacramento State, obviously not a big program, but Mike Bibby was a former NBA player, played in the league for a while. You've seen he's not really sure what he's done since he retired, but he's gotten in absolutely insane shape. He looks like a bodybuilder now. He's the coach of Sacramento State now, so we see a lot of ex-players got into coaching, more so on the football side of things. Michael Vick just got he got a head football coaching job. You've seen things like that happening. Obviously, Penny Hardaway's been in Memphis for a few years now. Juwan Howard was at Michigan until last year. So you've seen the kind of a pattern here. And Mike Bibby follows suit by taking the job at Sacramento State. Now, Sean Miller has left Xavier and taken the job at Texas. So Texas fired Rodney Terry after Texas lost in the first 4. But they went and got Sean Miller. This is a good hire. Miller is a good coach. He's coached for 20 years, was at Xavier for his first stint from 04 to 09. Was at Arizona for a very long time and ended up getting fired in 2022 after just, they decided to move on. Plus, he had some, he was part of that whole corruption scandal as well. But the last few years, it was back at Xavier. I had Xavier in the tournament again this year. He's a good coach. He's made the tournament 13 out of 20 seasons as a coach. He's been to the Elite Eight 4 times. Has not been able to quite get over the hump to this point in his career. But he's a solid coach, and he goes to Texas. So that's a big boy job for Sean Miller. This is what he does. He was at Xavier, then left for a better job at a bigger school in Arizona. After going back to Xavier, and now 4 years later does the same thing, leaving for a bigger and better school in Texas. But Xavier has found their replacement. They bring in Richard Pitino, New Mexico. Of course, his father is legendary college basketball coach Rick Pitino. Of course, currently coaches St. John's. Richard Pitino, he started at FIU back in 2013 in the Sun Belt. That ended up earning him a job at Minnesota, where he was for a while, from 2014 to 2021 for 8 seasons. Did okay over there. He made the tournament twice. 8 seasons. He's playing, Minnesota's very, just as a basketball program, is very overmatched in the Big Ten. You made the tournament twice in 2017, and then in 2019, you actually even won a tournament game. His last 2 years they weren't great. Overall was 141 and 123 over there, with 2 tournament appearances, 1 tournament win. But Ray was picked up by New Mexico, where he's done a really good job. First 2 years weren't great. 13-19 his first year. Second year, but 22 and 12, so a little bit better. But these last years, they've done a phenomenal. They've played really well under him. 2 years ago, 26 and 10. You won the Mountain West Conference Championship, earning you an little bid to the tournament. And this past year, 27-8, you were dominant. You won you were the best team in the Mountain West Conference all year. You win the conference tournament, and you even win a tournament game, getting a small upset as a 10 seed. You put up a good fight in the second round as well. And he is now next coach at Xavier. I think it's a good hire for Xavier. He's a red hot coach. Obviously, it's in his blood with his dad being Rick Pitino. He's a very good coach. He's done a good job at New Mexico. Probably deserved a boost. And Xavier, had solid this year. You made a tournament as an 11 seed. You beat Texas in the first 4, and then you end up chance to continue to do well with Richard Pitino as your next head basketball coach. Let's talk some standings updates first in the NHL. This is what the Eastern Conference looks like. Washington Capitals continue to rule the Eastern Conference. Only team in the East that has already clinched a playoff spot. They have 103 points, by far the most in the East. And it's the most in the entire league, actually. They're a point ahead of Winnipeg for that mark. So President's Trophy is going to be a real race between Washington and Winnipeg. With only like 10 or 11 games to go, Washington leads that race by a point. They've been playing some great hockey. Carolina's in second. They've been playing really well. You have 90 points. Toronto is in third with 89. Florida in fourth with 89. They're actually tied with Toronto, same exact record. Tampa's in fifth with 87. Devils are in sixth with 81. They have not played well since the All-Star break, to be honest, but still hanging in there. Ottawa's in seventh at 79. They've been playing well. Right now, the Montreal Canadiens are the last team in the postseason. They are the last team in with 75 points. The Islanders are a point out. The Rangers are only a point out, which I cannot believe because they have not been playing well at all. What a disaster the season's been for the Rangers. Columbus has been playing really bad. They've been struggling. They are 2 points out of it. Detroit's 3 points out. Now, obviously, Boston 6 points out. They are obviously playing very bad hockey. They blew up the whole team at the trade deadline. Then following them, Pittsburgh also 6 points out. And Philadelphia Flyers have lost 9 of the last 10. They've fallen apart. And the Buffalo Sabres are the Buffalo Sabres. In the Western Conference, Winnipeg Jets have already clinched a playoff spot, 102 points. They are 8 games clear in that conference. Dallas Stars are in second with 94. Vegas also has 94 points, but Dallas has a game in hand. Colorado's got 91. They're in fourth and playing really great hockey. Obviously, we're very busy at the trade deadline getting Mikko Rantanen and Brock Nelson added to their team. Kings in fifth. Kings are rolling. They won 9 of the last 10 games. Beat the Rangers last night. They are in fifth in the West. Edmonton is in sixth with 87. Seventh is Minnesota with 85. Blues are in eighth with 83. Calgary is 4 points out. Vancouver is 5 points out. Then you have Utah is 8 points out, and then obviously Anaheim, Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, and the Sharks are all god-awful. Chicago and the Sharks have already been eliminated from playoff contention. Let's take a look at what the playoff picture looks like. So right now in the Atlantic is a tight race. Toronto and Florida are tied for first in that division, with Tampa only being 2 points behind. So the Atlantic division is really tight. In the Metro, Washington's got that pretty much on lock, 13 points clear of Carolina. So it looks like Carolina will host the New Jersey Devils in the first round of the postseason. That is very, very likely to happen. Those two teams played 2 years ago in the conference semis, with Carolina winning that series. So we'll see what happens when they go round 2, I guess. In the Western Conference, Winnipeg, pretty firm grasp on the first in the Central, of course, 8 points clear of Dallas. Minnesota is 6 points behind Colorado for third in the Central, so not over yet. Both teams have 10 games to go, but most likely Dallas and Colorado will play in the first round, which will be a hell of a playoff series. I actually wish that this happens later on in the playoff. That's a hell of a series. Kind of reminds me, last year, I think Vegas and Dallas played in the first round, or it was Vegas against maybe Colorado or something like that. I thought, all right, whoever wins that series might go to the Cup. This could be another situation. Dallas and Colorado, whoever wins this might end up in the Cup final. And then in the Pacific, Vegas is 5 points clear of the Kings for first in the Pacific. Edmonton's only 2 points behind the Kings for second in the Pacific, 7 points out of first. So we're most likely going to get the Kings hosting the Oilers in the first round. That's most likely what we're looking at. But it's kind of hard to predict the playoff matchups right now. Besides, the only one that's really truly a lock is Carolina and the Devils for first round playoff matchups in the NHL. Heading to the NBA side of things. NBA standings right now. Eastern Conference. Cavs still rolling along. 58-14. They've cooled off a little bit. Still playing great basketball. They've already clinched their division. So they'll be in the playoffs. Celtics already clinched a playoff spot. They're in second. 53-19. I mean, they're 5 games behind Cleveland. I mean, they're playing some excellent basketball. Won 9 of 10. Won 6 in a row. That team, as long as they're healthy, they're a pretty safe bet to obviously have a deep playoff run. I think they only have about 10 games left. Third is the Knicks, 45-26. I think we all know the deal about the Knicks. They don't play a whole lot of defense, but they can score a lot. You know the deal with them. In fourth is Indiana. Indiana has been playing well. They've won 5 in a row. Actually, only 3 games behind the Knicks. They're at 42-29. Fifth is Milwaukee, 40-31. They are 2 games out of fourth. Pistons at 41-32. They are actually they're technically the same amount of games at a fourth as Milwaukee. They have played 2 more games than Milwaukee as of right now. Only 9 games remaining for them. So very tight right there for the 4th through 6 spots in the Eastern Conference. And the play-in is Atlanta is that first playing team at 35 and 37. No playing team's going to be able to get out of the play-in, it doesn't look like. Like the Hawks right now are 5.5 games out of a 6th spot. Orlando is the 8th spot at 35 and 38. So we're half game out of 7th. Bulls are in 9th. They are 2.5 games out, and the Heat have just been falling apart. 31 and 41 did annihilate the Warriors last night in Jimmy Butler's return. So that was a good get-back game for them, but they've been playing some really bad basketball. But Eastern Conference is so bad, the first team out is the Toronto Raptors, and they are 6 games behind the Heat. So Heat will make the play, and it looks like right now they're a game behind Chicago for 9th. Bulls are 2.5 games behind Orlando for 8th, and 3 games behind Atlanta for 7th. So we pretty much know the 10 teams in the Eastern Conference. We know pretty much who the 6 teams will be in the playoffs and the 4 teams will be in the play-in. Exactly, obviously seeding is still a little bit up for grabs. And by the way, the rest of the Eastern Conference, Charlotte and Washington have already been eliminated. Toronto, Brooklyn, and Philly are going to follow suit. Very shortly, Toronto just sucks. Brooklyn just is god-awful. And Philadelphia is just an absolute disaster. And like I said, Charlotte and Washington have already been eliminated. In the Western Conference, you have a Thunder at 60 and 12. They have actually clinched the Western Conference. They have clinched first in the Western Conference. They are right now 2 games ahead of Cleveland for the best record in all of the NBA. Houston Rockets, who have been rolling, have won 9 of 10. They had a 9-game win streak recently snapped. 47-26 have been playing some great basketball. And third is Denver at 45 and 28. Then you got Memphis in 4th at 44 and 28. In 5th is the Lakers at 43 and 28. They've been struggling. Obviously, LeBron has missed a bunch of time. You've got some injuries. Golden State's in 6th right now at 41 and 31. Clippers right there as the first playing team at 40 and 31, only a half game out of 6th in the West. 7th is Minnesota, 41 and 32. Also only a half game out of 6th in the West. 9th is the Sacramento Kings at 35 and 37. The Suns are also 35 and 37. Dallas Mavericks right now, 35 and 38. They're a half game out of the play-in. Obviously, the Luka trade just put a curse on their franchise. It's been an absolute disaster. Portland, 32 and 41. They are only 3 games out of a play-in spot. And the Spurs, 31 and 40. They are 3.5 games out of a play-in spot. Obviously, Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox both have season-ending surgeries. And the Pelicans and the Utah Jazz have already been eliminated from playoff contention. So as for playoff seeding in the West, right now, Denver's 2 games out of 2nd behind Houston. Memphis is only a half game out of 2nd right now. 3rd. And 2.5 games out of 2nd. The Lakers are a half game out of 4th. They've fallen 3 games out of 2nd. You got and then Golden State right now is 2.5 games out of 5th in Western Conference for the play-ins. Clippers and Minnesota both only a half game out of 6th and 3 games out of 5th in the Western Conference. If season were to end today, it would be the Knicks hosting the Pistons and the Pacers hosting the Bucks. Been that way for a while, but not set and done yet. The play-in matchup, which this is most likely going to happen, but certainly not certain. Atlanta hosting Orlando. The winner of that gets the 7. Chicago hosting Miami. The winner of that plays the loser of 7 and 8, and the winner of that obviously would get the 8 seed and play the 1 seed. In the West, it would be season end today would be Denver hosting Golden State and Memphis hosting the Lakers. And then the play-in would be the Clippers hosting Minnesota. When winner of that will get the 7 seed. Sacramento would host Phoenix. Winner of that would play the loser of the Clippers and Minnesota, and the winner of that would get the 8 seed. But seeding is still up for grabs for the most part in both conferences for sure. Okay, there were 2 big NFL free agent signings. NFL free agent kind of turned off for a while, and all of a sudden it woke back up yesterday. The New England Patriots signed Stephon Diggs, former All-Pro receiver, 3 years, $69 million with $26 million guaranteed. overall, I think this is a good move for the Patriots. That is a lot of money. He's going to be 32, coming off a torn ACL. I've said this before. I don't think that coming off torn ACLs and torn Achilles is as big of a deal as it once was because of how powerful modern medicine is in today's day and age. Obviously, the younger you do it, the easier it is. He is going to be 32, but this is he's still a really good receiver. He was a Pro Bowler in 4 straight seasons prior to this past year. He only played 8 games because he tore his ACL. He had 47 catches for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns before getting hurt. He was on pace for another 1,000-yard season. Prior to this past year, every full season he's played, which is pretty much every year of his career, he's had at least 1,000 yards in the previous 6 seasons. He's had in those 6 seasons, he's had in 5 of those, he had at least 107 catches. He had over 1,100 yards in at least in the previous 5 seasons before this year. He's still a really good receiver. And he was on pace for about 100 catches for a little over 1,000 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns before getting hurt. He's still a really good receiver, borderline number 1, exit number 2. $23 million, maybe a slight much, but the Patriots are in a position where they can overpay for a receiver. You have a young quarterback on a rookie deal who's got a lot of potential in Drake May. You have a lot of money to spend. It's okay to overpay for a veteran that can help you right now. Diggs is a very good receiver. There appears to still be some bad blood between him and the Bills, and I can play him twice a year. A major upgrade over what they have in that receiver. And the receiver room was really bad last year. The only thing they had added was Mac Hollins, another former Bill, who isn't really anything special. So it's a big move for the Patriots. It's only $26 million guaranteed. And supposedly he is expected to be ready for Week 1. So that is a very good move for the New England Patriots. Give them some options in the draft. They were very desperate for a receiver before this move, to the point where you may have had to reach on Ted McMillan over the Patriots, and maybe you just sit there and see if Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter falls to you. If not, you could take Will Campbell, the top offensive lineman in this draft. You still need a left tackle. If not, maybe you move back and still get Campbell or another offensive lineman, maybe Arbon Membu or Calvin Banks. If you move back far enough, you take Ted McMillan. You could probably get one in the second or third round as well. So that's a big signing for the Patriots. And the Giants add another quarterback. Russell Wilson is a New York Giant. 1-year deal worth up to $21 million. Hey, look, Russ has had a great career, for sure. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but you can make the argument he's pretty close. $21 million, I think, is a fair salary. It's not a lot for a starting quarterback in today's NFL. I don't think he has anything left. In 11 games last year with the Steelers, after he became a starter, he completed 63% of his passes for just over 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns against 5 picks. He was rated as just above average. He was really bad down the stretch, was not good in that playoff game against Baltimore. He's going to be 37 years old. I don't think he really has anything left. His arm is gone. Used to have maybe the best deep ball in all of football. That's long gone. His mobility isn't really there anymore. He's not as accurate as he once was. He simply is not the same player. He's not exactly the best. I don't truly see him as a true leader. He's not. A lot of the ex-Seahawks players don't like him. Marshawn Lynch did not like him when he played in Seattle. Richard Sherman really didn't like him when he played in Seattle. So, obviously he clashed with Pete Carroll on his way out there. Obviously he clashed with Sean Payton in Denver. I don't know about anything that happened, any clashing in Pittsburgh, but they would rather not. They'd rather wait on a 90-year-old just lunatic Aaron Rodgers, wait for his decision, or just go into the season with a unproven raw rookie, or drum roll please, Mason Rudolph as their quarterback, opposed to paying Russell Wilson $21 million to be their starter. So it shows you how much they value him. In fact, it came out today that he actually wanted to go back to the Steelers, but then the Giants, I guess, just made him an offer that he really just couldn't turn down. So that quarterback room right now is Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. That is a hell of a quarterback room. But I don't mean that it's good. I mean it's just really entertaining, I guess is the word. You're going to have Russell Wilson saying Giants country, let's ride the whole time. He's got his cringe freaking Subway commercial. You're going to have Jameis Winston just saying anything, you know, just like praising God after they ask him like why he threw 7 picks in practice. You have Tommy DeVito just eating chicken cutlets on the side. That is a wild quarterback room. Is it good? No. This team is not good. Does this turn them away from Shedeur Sanders at the 3rd pick? I mean, for their sake, I hope it does, because Shedeur is just god-awful. But Russell Wilson is a Giant. Again, I think he's washed, but is he the best option for them right now? Like, guess he's better than Jameis Winston and whoever they hypothetically could draft. I guess. But still, in the Spiral comments, he has nothing left. So let's recap wrestling. First, SmackDown from last week, this past Friday. So it started out, Randy Orton came out to cut a promo. Then Kevin Owens came out. And then he actually apologized to Randy Orton. He says, oh, like, he tried to, like, bond with him. He said, let's become a tag team and make a tag team title run. Then Randy Orton told him to take his apology and stick it up his ass. And they will officially be fighting at WrestleMania. That's going to be an incredible match. Hopefully they get some sort of stipulation for that match. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso were in a tag match against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. Priest and Jimmy Uso pick up the win. That's 2 really random pairings. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso, and then McIntyre and Nakamura. By the way, not Nakamura. What a sad story. That guy had so much talent when he came over last decade. That really is a shame. But Priest and Jimmy Uso pick up the win. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair on a split-screen interview had a very fiery little interview there. I love Charlotte Flair's line when Tiffany's like, oh, well, they don't like you. And she goes, they're wooing or booing. That was a bar. But I don't think they're going to fight at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship. United States Championship #1 contender match. Braun and Fatu ended in disqualification. Sol Sikoa got involved. Afterwards, Fatu was very upset with Sol Sikoa. And so was just trying to help him. He was like, let me handle my business. He got into a screaming match. Seemed to hint at possibly Sol and Fatu fighting WrestleMania. I hope that happens. That would be a banger match. I gotta love Jacob Fatu. And Piper Niven defeated Zelina Vega in the match. Obviously, got some help from Chelsea Green and newest member of the little group, Alba Fire, on the outside. Liv Morgan defeated Jade Cargill after Naomi interfered. And then, of course, you had Raquel Rodriguez there as well. And then Naomi attacked Cargill after the match as they build towards their WrestleMania match. The Street Profits versus the week after they won the tag team titles. You know, they got a nice reaction from the crowd. They ended up fighting Legado del Fantasma. Of course, Angel and Garza after Ford hit a frog splash to win that match. And the Street Profits and Pretty Deadly are going to fight in a tag match for the tag titles next week. And then you had LA Knight against Braun Strowman is going to be announced for this upcoming week for the U.S. title. Obviously, LA Knight's going to win. I'm sure I could see there being another disqualification. And the big thing, of course, the promo between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. You had Punk, you know, he mentioned his favor. Who knows what that is? You saw Paul Heyman look pretty upset when Punk came out, when Punk was bringing all this stuff up. And then a huge brawl has led to a triple threat match being announced between the three for WrestleMania. That's going to be epic. Can't wait. Should main event night 1. That was SmackDown. Now heading to Monday Night Raw. John Cena again opened up Raw with a promo, and he just, you know, same kind of thing, repping the WWE Universe apart. Another great promo from heel Cena. He said he's going to ruin wrestling. He's going to take the championship home with him. Maybe he brings back the Spanish title. I don't know. And then Cody Rhodes came out, and they had a little face-off. Cannot wait for that. Yep, London coming up this next week. Could The Rock be there? We'll see what happens. The rest of Raw folded out like this. Of course, 8-10 Down Under had a tag match against Jey Uso and his mystery partner, which was Jimmy Uso. For the first time in 2 years, Usos were reunited. It was very cool to see. Usos end up winning. Due to attacks after the match, Jey tripped. This botch was actually done on purpose. Then afterwards, Jimmy Uso gave Jey a little fiery pep talk. Then he went around the corner and smacked Gunther in the face. It's a match between those two this upcoming Monday on Raw. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria defeated Raquel Rodriguez to retain the title. And then after Liv Morgan attacked Lyra after the match, Bayley came in for the save. That was a good match. Then you had Adam Pearce came out with Io Sky and Bianca. Talking about like, oh, I know Rhea signed the contract, but that doesn't matter. Then Rhea came out, and Pearce eventually just started screaming over them and said Rhea and Io will fight again for the Women's World Title this upcoming Monday. The winner faces Bianca. I think they're building towards a triple threat. I think it's pretty clear. We'll see what happens with that. And El Grande Americana, which is it Chad Gable? Who knows? Defeated Dragon Lee by submission with the same exact ankle lock that Chad Gable uses. So we're still seeing where that goes. Then CM Punk announced there's going to be a contract signing this week on SmackDown between him, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Again, he hinted at the favor. And the Intercontinental Championship was Braun Breaker against Penta, ended in disqualification. Finn and Dominic Mysterio got involved. You saw, obviously, there's some tension there. I think those two are going to turn on each other. It's going to be a little sad, but I think there might be leaning towards a fatal four between Braun, Penta, Dom, and Finn Balor. I wouldn't mind if really any of them won the match. And yes, I include Dom Mysterio in that. I would not mind if Dom Mysterio won the Intercontinental Championship. Not one bit. That's all I got for you guys today. No show tomorrow. Should be back Friday. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.